Okay, so last time we spoke, we started to talk about audience analysis. Okay, and like I said before, please pay attention. And if you need to take notes, take notes. But you can always just go back and look at the presentation. So I would just listen if I were you. Um, so you're going to have to apply this type of thing to your case study at the end of the course. Okay. Where we left off was attitudinal analysis. How do you make someone care how do you make someone care about what you're talking about? For instance, how do you make someone care to vote if he's never voted before and doesn't really watch the news or anything like that? How do you convince someone like that to vote? Um, okay, so moving on, you guys. All right, this is environmental analysis. This next aspect is environmental analysis. And this simply means the conditions under which the speech is delivered, the environment. Uh, the seating arrangement, the number of people, the lighting, whether people can see or not, other factors such as the temperature and acoustics of the room. Okay. Sometimes when you're speaking to large groups, a microphone's helpful. And when you're speaking to a small group, eye contact and some intimacy is also important as well. Okay, so this cracks me up. All right. So this is your activity about environmental analysis. So just like try to do it in your head, see what you would come up with, and I'll go over it after you do that. So your activity is to imagine you are a middle school principal and you are to speak to two groups of people today. The first talk is about the importance of kindness to a class of 15, 12-year-olds who have just gotten into trouble for bullying other kids. The second is to a group of about 150 other educational professionals about the importance of classroom management. How could you arrange the environment for maximum impact? Um, so, what I would like you to do, just in your head, okay, quickly write a list of environmental needs for each talk and draw a suggested floor plan. And we'll talk about that as well. Okay, let's say I were the principal. First of all, these little brats, I would call them into my office, all right? I would call them into my office, perhaps in small groups, maybe two or even one at a time. I would tell them in no certain terms that they were being brats. And I would probably stand up while speaking to them to look as tall and scary and intimidating as possible. That is something I think I've missed out with not teaching middle school or elementary. I'm way shorter than most of my students. You can't tell that now because here I am on camera, but I'm a pretty little person. But anyway, that's what I would do. I would speak to them in small groups, look them in the eye. Uh, I wouldn't really have to worry much about the lighting, um, but I would with the other group. Okay, the other group of 150 other educational professionals. Oh, look at this! My cat has just stopped in to visit. Here she is. Um, so this is my cat, Sunny D. By the way, I'm afraid she's going to walk across the. Please don't walk across. Come on, sweetheart, don't do that. But anyway, uh, let's talk about the 150 educational professionals. Okay, the educational professionals. Chances are the principal would speak to his audience in like maybe an auditorium setting, low lights, maybe a spotlight on him, and maybe a microphone. A cordless mic is nice to keep your audience's attention if you so you can walk up and down and talk to them and maybe interact with them a bit and ask questions. But the environment would be much more personal with the kids than it would the adults. Uh, you might use educational jargon if you're speaking to professionals and you're a professional. Um, and there might be, like I said, an auditorium, some type of presentation, maybe a PowerPoint or Prezi for the educational professionals. Okay. And my cat said she's very happy to meet you. Okay, so ideally, your audience would need to be able to hear you and respond to you. Okay, they need to be able to hear, see, have space for reflection, maybe space in their heads for reflection, time to reflect, maybe, etc. Okay. Okay. So let's review everything that we have done so far. For review, audience analysis is paramount. Before delivering a speech, you should be aware, if at all possible, of the following factors: the demographic makeup of the audience, the overall general attitude toward the topic of the speech, and the physical environment in which the speech is presented. Um, okay, so I forgot to mention something about the temperature for the environment. Let me just go back to that last slide. I just remembered something that I forgot about. Okay, so I'm autistic, which is probably no big surprise to some of you who are watching this. Um, I'm mildly autistic. If I'm trying to hear a speaker in a room where it's like a big open room and the sound just seems to travel, is very echoey, there's no way I can pay attention. As a matter of fact, I really just want to go to the nearest corner and put my hands over my ears. It's that distracting to me. Um, but like I said, the room, the temperature, the room, distractors, all that's super important to consider. Um, I went to a meeting of teachers at South High Library, and the ceilings are high with those with ductwork exposed. It was so echoey, I could barely concentrate on what the speaker was saying. But anyway, and I apologize for not mentioning that in sequential order. Okay, so again, for review, audience analysis is paramount. Before delivering a speech, you should be aware of the following factors: the demographic makeup of the audience, the overall general attitude toward the topic of the speech, and the physical environment in which the speech is presented. And that is the end of mini lecture 2.